Okay. So, I feel like a recap is in order, because Bootleg, you missed a couple things, and you, Brandon, probably weren't paying much attention.
That's true.
I know that Thanos snapped his fingers, and that...
Shut up, please, Brandon.
Okay.
Okay. So, basically, long time ago, there's Siru Kai, and there's Earthworld. Sirus come from Siru Kai. It's in the name. The god made the Siru. Siru came to Earth. They did some cool things. Then, there was an evil Siru.
Of course.
His name was Rogue. Or they named him Rogue. I don't know. Either way, Rogue was evil. He made the mist. The mist was just sort of like his anger, and it infects the other Sirus and makes them rage.
Okay.
All the other Sirus, or there's a group of 6 Ra Sirus that are unaffected by the mist. They stopped him. They basically put him in Siru jail. Meanwhile, over on Earth, like a millennia later or something like that, there's a war between Conquerum and Sol.
Right,
and the guys,
Yeah.
So the guys in Conquerum are like, we need stronger Siru, because that's how you fight the war and everything. So they made Sim Siru, which are soulless Siru and are front to God.
Right.
And so Rogue in jail could sense like, hey, you're an affront to God, I'm an affront to God.
Let's go get sandwiches.
Like, I tell you what, there's this mist, it makes the Sirus really strong, let me out of here using technology, and I'll make you win the war. So they opened up a portal to Rogue, and his essence came out, and as you saw, it makes the Siru go crazy with rage.
Right.
That's
and then,
bad thing.
The Sirus went crazy with rage, they fought, and then 3 unnamed heroes...
No, they're heroes.
No one really knows where they came from. They just sort of appeared one day. But they went in, they stopped it, everything was good. The thing was, the guys with the Sim Sirus, which is what you missed, Bootleg,
Right.
after the fact, they're sitting there like, our Sim Sirus weren't affected by the mist. Or rather, they were made stronger, but because they don't have souls, they didn't take over. We still had full control. And they're like, well, the mist is gone. They're like, but I collected a little bit in this jar. We have a sample, so we can make artificial mist.
So that's what we're currently fighting.
And that's what we're currently fighting. Court is like, we could win the war, or I could cover the earth in mist, be the only one immune to it, and rule all of the world.
Right.
And so that's what happened.
I can attest to you that, yes, I was not paying attention.
To be fair, some of that came from the wiki, but, for everyone's understanding, now we're all caught up.
Okay. Cool.
Hardleg and his friends, they're gonna play a lot of games. It's Legsplay.
And welcome back to Legsplay!
We said all different things, but
I-
I'm Hardleg Joe.
Felt
I
like
said
we were,
welcome
yeah,
back to
we-
Legsplay.
Yeah.
I think I said welcome once again to Legsplay.
That must have muddled it up.
Yeah.
Joey,
We need to be on a point on this.
It's okay.
All right,
Yeah,
let's start the
anyway.
entire series over. We're gonna have to get to the.
Start from the beginning. We've got things going a little bit better than they were before, but they're still not great. But you
We
know what?
apologize for
That's
the lag.
fine. I've been messing around with this for like a half an hour trying to get it. I think it might just be because we're on the other side of the disc, like near the end of the game.
Yeah.
So maybe that part is just inherently more laggy. I don't know. But either way, we're here. Like I said, I'm Hardleg Joe. Bootleg Drew is here.
Hey, what's up, people?
CB Radio.
I am. You're probably gonna be able to hear me now.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I've been turning you up and stuff. It's just been a lot
okay.
of editing
All right.
problems.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk loud now.
We'll eventually get this whole thing sorted out. 60 episodes in, we'll have good visuals and good audio.
3 years later, I'm sure. Well, yeah.
Again, though, it's fine. I was on a stream the other night, and people were like, I started watching Legaia, it's pretty good. And then I made a joke about, like, second best, and they're like, who? Like, I thought you started watching Legaia. They're like, I did. I started watching last week. They just came on. They're like, I don't need to watch everything up to that point. We're good. So, yeah, introducing yourselves at the beginning, kind of important.
Yeah. Oh,
hey,
we
Hey, we
pictured
got a
it.
tentacle monster.
We didn't let it slip. Mom
Slippery.
spaghetti.
Yeah,
Really?
we had one
No.
shot, one opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
Exactly. And I'll just punch this Medusa in the face until she
Yeah.
capitulates to our superior numbers. 3 on 1.
America.
America!
We're from America, where we punch you until you understand freedom.
We'll punch the freedom and understanding into you. Like, I don't think that's how that works.
That just reminds me of Heart of America, where they're like, Hey, I can see you sneaking over there. Like, I'm not sneaking. Yeah, you are. I totally see you. He's like, whatever, it's America. I can trespass all I want. Like, that's not quite how that works. See, this is why you don't sit cross-legged on a regular chair.
Hey, it's the way I sit, and it's what makes me feel comfortable.
You don't know me and the way I live my life.
You don't know me. You don't know how I take my cereal.
The way I eat my breakfast cereal. I saw that on a tweet that had Will Ferrell's picture on it.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm not sure if it's actually Will Ferrell or if people just put that picture there to make it seem funnier.
I thought it was under that not Will Ferrell Twitter
I have
account.
no idea. Will Ferrell's
such
such a weird guy.
But
You don't like Will Ferrell, right?
No, I like Will Ferrell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the line? Because I don't think
I think
I don't think
You don't know me. You don't know how I eat my breakfast cereal.
No, it was the line. I hate it when people or when some. I don't remember the exact one.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, I have
about.
no idea
There was
what
something
you're
that
going
came
on about.
before it. Like, I hate it when waiters pour my the milk in my cereal bowl.
No, it was something that, like, someone assumed something about him.
Mhm.
It could be literally anything.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like, yeah, I hate it when, yeah, something at a restaurant where people were just like,
We're
give him
losing the
napkins.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hate when they just assume I want silverware. They don't know me. They don't know how I eat my breakfast cereal.
Like
The
a
first
man.
part's not important. It's the second part. That's where the joke. Anatomy of a Joke 101. It's all about setup and release. Just like music.
What was that? Oh yeah, that's another thing I was gonna talk to you about.
Oh, you came with topics?
Oh.
I came
Oh,
with topics.
Awesome.
I was.
We should have done that.
It reminded me because of the way you said it. So my grandpa teaches at both UMSL and Merrimack sometimes. He does like engineering stuff.
Those are
Nice.
colleges.
Yeah.
For people who don't know.
Yeah. Sorry. So he teaches at like collegiate and then like a because Merrimack's not what's it called? It's below collegiate, but
It's
above.
a community college.
Community college, which I don't know if that is. Whatever. The point is, he teaches at 2 levels of collegiate learning.
Yeah.
And he told me the other day when I was explaining to him, actually, so we watched Pacific Rim together, which is a terrible idea to watch anything like that
With an
your,
engineer?
No, not with an engineer, with your grandfather. Unless he's like super otaku and into that kind of thing, he's gonna be like, so why are they called Jaegers? What is this? Why is the giant monster here?
My friends fought and died so we didn't have to learn German.
Yeah,
German
exactly.
and Japanese.
Exactly.
And Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, so, but anyway, but he was asking me all sorts of questions, so I went into telling him about, like, basically analyzing the film. He goes, you're pretty good at that. There's actually opening at Merrimack that I could get you into if you, like, came to me with a lesson plan. I could, like, potentially, like, help you basically teach a semester at Merrimack, because the film teacher there didn't want to basically teach for that semester.
I don't want to teach.
Yeah.
Cannes Film Festival just came out, and I have so much stuff to catch up on.
The point is, I was just like, I've never considered myself a teacher or educator or anything like that. I
And
just talk a
now?
lot.
Neither have I.
But I wanted your guys' opinion on that prospect and what you guys thought basically about.
No, I think it's a pretty cool idea.
You
yeah.
being a teacher?
Yeah.
Versus.
I definitely think you have the ability to educate people, but I'm not sure if you have what it takes to be like a teacher because of all the paperwork involved.
Yeah.
That was actually going to be my thing. Is like I think you have the intelligence, the patience. On the other hand,
I think you have the patience. I think if you're in a teaching situation, you
I need to.
he'd be able to figure it out. I don't think I need that many doors of
Well,
light.
I don't think I've ever tried to teach you anything, Brandon, besides just like talking to you. I don't
No,
think
no,
I've ever
no,
sat
I'm-
down and tried to like explain or like have you learn something in front of me and then do the processes in order to make sure you understand.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about, like, most of my education these days comes from YouTube, where you have a whole generation of people who are making content to educate people who clearly would not make good teachers.
Right.
Like, John and Hank Green, probably not the kind of people to sit down and do a whole bunch of paperwork like
Right.
that, but they can educate you really well.
Yeah.
But then, as I was saying that, I also thought, like, yeah, it's easy to educate people when you don't have to test for comprehension afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, you just assume that you're doing a good job, and you don't really have a whole lot of feedback,
You just
other than people coming up and being like, hey, I liked that.
Yeah. But so what I want to do specifically with that class is a foreign film class, because it's the easiest way to like have them watch a movie, have them analyze it. come back to me with their analysis and then an open discussion. And then the only grades would be the actual the only tests or grades, if there was a requirement for that, would just be writing out, like,
The
plots
analysis.
and an analysis. Either have them write a paper that's an analysis and grade them based on certain key points, or, like, you know, a test that was like, what happened in this movie? How can it be how can, like, Kurosawa's Hamlet be compared to the actual writings in Shakespeare? Something like that, you know?
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that,
Yeah.
where, like...
Throne of Blood's Macbeth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Macbeth, sorry. But yeah, the point is that, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff you can do like that wouldn't be too hard. It's just the prep work.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I always thought that, like, being a teacher required, like, I didn't think you could, like, run a course. I guess would it still be for, like, credit or something? Or, like,
It would be an elective.
Yeah, okay,
It'd be an art elective, and I would be, like, the way he said it, and I have to get a better explanation from him, but it wouldn't be like I was an official, like, teacher, because you need a license.
Yeah.
For that, what he would do is either he'd get me, like, a provisional license or something, or, like, he would basically, like, or I'd be teaching under his credit, and I would just be, like, a substitute for him.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember how all of it worked. He explained it to me, and I was just like, oh, shit, I didn't expect you to, like...
Yeah, that's actually
far,
a pretty cool opportunity, and I, for one, am completely behind you going
Oh,
for
yeah.
it.
I'd say totally go for it if you can.
Fail big
I'm just
if you can.
just be aware that, like, you'll probably have to grade 1 million papers and read a whole bunch of stuff, and most of it will be terrible.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it will be terrible.
And you'll begin to hate people from your own generation.
Yay.
Enjoy!
I mean, I guess. I just like the idea of just, like, talking to someone about, you know,
Film? Yeah.
film, or, like...
Talk about
yeah.
movies. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
we got a new shirt and a new armor.
Ooh,
Not
sure
if you
she
noticed.
did, yeah, it's cool.
She's got very intimidating looking leggings.
Yep. Bara. And we'll just finish it up with Tiny Iota.
Tiny Iota.
That goal was great.
That guy
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah. But I was just going to say, one of the things that really interests me, or not interests me, but one of the things that's kind of astounded me as I get older is, like, how little training the people in power need to be in power.
Yeah.
Like, I always just sort of assumed that, like, in order to be a policeman, you had to go to the academy, and there was, like,
Right.
standardized training, and it's like, nope. You could get, there's no, like, states may have certain things, but especially for, like, local municipalities, like, the cops that pull you over, like, sometimes are just sort of like, yeah, I got a college education. I took the training over the last, like, weekend.
Yeah, because my film is, or my degree, he said specifically because it will go a long way because my degree is in media studies, so he's just like, you studied this anyway, so, like, you just almost get it on degree alone, and then work on the license thing later. And the license thing, I think the license, if I remember my, and someone in the comments can correct me about all of this if I'm wrong, or if my grandfather's wrong, but the licensing, especially my friend Jen, who's a teacher, she like, basically, she went to college, she's still, like, in college, and, teaching, yeah. And so, like, she's, like,
pat yourself on the stomach.
she's got the payment of a
reach my
teacher,
back.
but she's still earning her, like, license, basically. to
Huh.
Yeah.
teach. Yeah, so, like, but it's under the fact that she's a student teaching,
And so this would be credits towards you, or is this
I would
just-
have to possibly enroll as a, like, teacher learning to teach. I'd have to possibly enroll as an educator learning to
Oh, wait,
do
we have
that.
to go to
The
back to
mirror,
our
right?
mom?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
back to the mom.
Because we got the Nemesis gem.
Yeah, because she's trapped in the bubble. Or no, that was
Well,
the
everyone's
dad.
trapped in everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
this
But
is
yeah,
just
we have
a-
to free him. But
Yeah, that was a... Okay, so as we went into the future, there was a thing
Past.
of, like... as we went to the
Ba-
future.
back to the
from
future.
Okay.
Back to the future. Do-do,
Anyway.
do-do-do-do-do.
Anyway,
I forgot now. All I
See,
can think
that's
about is
why-
Marty McFly.
that's why I tried to stop you from doing it.
I tried to stop you, but you wouldn't listen,
Listen,
He
Marty.
went back in time and it destroyed his memories.
But no, there was a... when we went back in time, there was like a pillar with a clam on it,
Mhm.
if you recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we left, like, that clam slowly opened, but I don't know what that signified. I think it's a Siru. I think the whole city's stuck in a giant Sim Siru or something like
Huh.
I
that.
actually thought that was the actual castle. I remember that. No, never mind. I was thinking something else.
I don't know, because that's the thing. It's implied that, like, whatever happened shortly after this.
Right.
Except for, like, when CB was carried away as a baby, they obviously weren't trapped in a giant clam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And the mist was, like, spreading around
Yeah.
slowly.
so we don't really. So that might be a little plot hole, but
Yeah.
Either it's a plot hole or just, like, we don't have a clear idea of the
Right.
timeline. Maybe the crab took over maybe it was a giant Siru first, and then like
Right.
parts of it became. I don't know. It's just weird. Also, there was a surprisingly touching moment where CB Ladio like met her mom for the first time and wanted so bad to like talk
Tell
to
her.
her,
Yes, that was actually kind of difficult.
and just like walked up and was like, Bootleg's like, no, you can't, and she's like,
What?
hand outwards, and then just like look down, like,
Aw.
it's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
Oh.
Pixels can be moving.
And then she's like, I need to thank you. I can't believe you just took the Nemesis gem. Like, here, I want to give you something, like, and it's the family ring.
Mhm.
She's like, I can have another one made for my daughter by the time she's born.
Uh,
So she gave you the family ring. And
then
I was
you
like,
immediately-
this would be great on Hardleg. She's like, but it's my family's ring, and my mom gave it to me before she left forever.
Continue staring directly into her eyes, saying nothing.
I just started talking. I get to take whatever I want. Oh, hey. Hi, Mom, do you remember me now? Silence.
Punches her in the face.
CB Radio, you heard me. Court is my son. I remember
Yeah.
from...
Yeah, 5 minutes ago.
And he's your brother, because that's how families work.
to understand families, you were raised by wolves. Do I need to go over this?
After this incident, 2 Siru remained in Konkrum. One was transformed into a Sim Siru, which fed on the mist and engulfed Konkrum. Okay, so it is a Sim Siru.
Okay.
Alright.
The other may be a fragment of an evil rogue.
Oh, they're called rogues. It's not
Okay.
actual rogues.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We
I
just
thought it was
fought, like,
called...
the rogue.
We fought the rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, it doesn't transfer very well into PS1 graphics, but they make a deal about how, like, Siru Kai is something that humans can't perceive, and the
Yeah.
tower we were in was, like, our mind's manifestation of what we were experiencing.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
yeah,
weird.
They-
That Siru can give humans incredible knowledge. It was that power that awakened Court's wicked ambitions. With raw Siru and raw Siru eggs, he created the Mist Generator and the Sim Siru. He learned to create Sim Siru to provide him with powers and achieve his ambitions. I already explained. By the time we realized what he was doing, it was already too late.
You're bad parents.
Yeah.
He'd masturbated all over the dog. The fur
Wow.
had to be shaved off. We feel so responsible.
What happened
Bird
to the
flap.
dog after being shaved?
It's not your fault, Mother! I'm gonna shut down the Mist Generator and the Absolute Fortress for good! After that, you won't be alone anymore! You can be blind with all the other blind people! CB Ledio, I like you as a friend.
Oh, okay.
Love, yes, I know about love! Ultimate love! Feel my muscles, Mom! Bootleg's just
Yeah.
proudly
Yeah,
smiling
he's
in the
like-
background.
You know, he just like gives the fisherman nod. Yeah.
I
She
taught
gets
her
it.
well.
Yeah, I got her.
Starts oiling her mother,
Yeah.
just like, this is how we show love.
Wait, I guess we need the Nemesis gem to get into... Okay. I thought we gave it to her and she, like,
No, we
undid
needed
the...
it to
No,
get into
no.
the doors of the Absolute Fortress.
Okay, so this
I
was
thought.
a waste of time.
A little bit.
While we're here, should I go see CB's dad, or should we just...
Nah,
Nah.
let's just go forward.
He's fine.
Yeah.
What was his name anyway?
Terrence?
I don't know. Some kind of
Neptunia?
Neptunian.
I'm so sad. My nose has itched for nigh a millennia.
But yeah, another topic I brought in was when we were watching Pacific Rim, and he was going on about because again, teaching engineering, he was like, what I like most about that movie is how slow the machines are. They move nice and realistically to me. I was like, yeah, up until it uses the ship as a sword. That's where it kind of, or the sword thing that
Yeah.
wiggles around and then hardens.
Are you
I
talking
haven't
about the
seen
actual
Pacific
ship?
Rim.
Pacific Rim? Okay, it's
No.
basically, the selling point is,
I've
it's
seen the
basically-
trailer. I know there's
yeah.
giant robots and 2 people have to pilot them.
Yeah, and they have to fight monsters.
And they make a big deal about how, it takes, all of the government's resources to
Yeah.
build it, and it's this huge collaborative effort, which I like.
Yeah.
Because Gundams just kind of seem to come out of nowhere half the time.
Yeah, but
Well, that's in space.
yeah, but
so.
what's cool about Pacific Rim is
I'll have to remember that. So,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's in space. It's
Yeah,
all right.
it's
I'll have to
all right.
explain it when it's in
Yeah.
space.
We're
but,
super technology, brah.
what I was saying was that what we discussed though is that the fact that he was just like, when the sword came out the first time, he was like, Now, I gotta pause it, and I was like, oh god, he's gonna go on
no.
an old man rant or something. Because, like, my grandpa, Vietnam veteran, worked on, like, helicopters that, carried men into missions. Like, his work was, vital. He was, like, this serious guy. And, like, but he goes, now why didn't they have that the whole time? Why didn't they engineer weapons
You're so
for
proud.
the robots? And I
You're
was just
so
like,
proud.
I did. I had a moment like, that's what I've been saying for goddamn years. He was like, why didn't they have a claymore for the fucking robot? That's like the Russian one should have like spikes or something. Like the more damage, the only one that made sense was the red one that had like spinning blades. And even then the like thing caught it. Yeah, but if they'd given it like, I don't know, chakrams to throw as the spinning blades, and then a giant ass katana or something, or a dao, like,
Or a gun.
yeah, or a gun, like that
The
would
biggest gun.
yeah, that would have made so much more goddamn sense. If you have the engineering to build a giant robot, he's like, if you have the resources to build those robots, you have the resources to build those guns. At least, the production number might have gone down, but the efficiency of monster deaths would have gone up.
Also,
And I said, the fact that you said the sentence, efficiency of monster deaths would have gone up, makes me entirely proud to be your grandson.
but yeah, also I would say like cover the entire thing in said buzzsaws so that grapples would not work.
Exactly.
It's just
my question. Wait, did they ever use projectiles against them?
They used like missiles, which were really effective, but it was only in like the flashiest, like most expensive robot had chest missiles. The other one had like an atomic laser, and that worked really well too.
Huh.
So like obviously projectiles work well, but they didn't seem to incorporate them into every single robot.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say though, I was like, well, you should give them a gun, and then I immediately went to, if you could build a gun big enough to hurt them, you could make a stationary one without having to make a giant complicated robot.
Yeah.
Fire like a Gauss rifle or something at them, or a linear rail cannon.
So they went over that, and like they basically were like building a giant wall as like a secondary plan, because like the Jaegers were starting to lose because the monsters are evolving. And they're getting better at fighting the Jaegers. Which, again, I think if they had better weapons... But there's two sides of the coin. But anyway, they started building this wall to protect the coastline. Like a giant-ass wall all across all the coasts of the nation.
Even avisen the dudes with the Jaeger.
And but, like, the point was, like...
Sorry, go ahead.
My main flaw with it was that they didn't have any armaments on the wall. They just had a giant wall. They didn't have any, like, guns or anything attached to it.
And we'll make the kaijus build it. That's how we do it.
Make the kaijus pay for the wall.
But like, my joke aside was that basically he was like, I love all the old man predictions. He was just like, when he like came across, I was like, well, that's not gonna work. And I was like, why is that? He's like, think about it. A creature that size applying, and he's just like going in this thing. I'm like, you watch movies so differently than I do.
Yeah. I've heard that getting a physics degree will ruin your ability to watch any action movie. Like, people fire a gun and they go launching back, and they're like, that's not an equal but opposite reaction.
Yeah. Now, to bring it back to a point before, when you were talking about, was it...
Comment in the comments, what did you think about Pacific Rim?
Yes.
Yeah, especially those who are not from America, because I heard it did really well overseas, and I wanted to hear your version and reception. Because I know that the main cast member opposite of the lead, the female lead, was like a huge, I can't remember her name, or the actress's name, but she was like huge in Japan. But like no one in America knew about her.
No one knew about the guy.
Well, she was huge in China, probably.
Yeah, or huge in China, and then he was huge in like Australia. But like no one knew about either of them when they came out.
Because I remember someone talking about like a lot of movies these days that are like huge blockbuster movies. They've been hiring like Chinese superstars to be in them. So because China is like a huge movie market now, because they have a huge healthy middle class that goes to movies, unlike America.
So that's just I find it all very interesting, the way that like not only does foreign dynamics play into that movie, but also like the whole super government basically coming together, but like
it's the super government.
The switch of what really fascinated him and me the most when we were talking and analyzing the film was the fact that it like, and this is more covered in like the books and stuff and more in depth.
There's books?
There's books and there's like comics on.
I can understand comics. It lends itself to comics quite well.
Yeah, but there was like a book or something. There was basically like a compendium that like explains like the world building that the person did. And what's cool is that, so this is the gate of hell. I thought it'd be a lot more fiery.
I
Nope,
thought there'd be
just missed.
tacos.
If we destroy the mist generator, Concrum will be free!
CB Ladio, the Nemesis gem from your parents. Throw it towards the gates of hell. No regard for its safety or the fact that it might work.
Just, and it falls on the ground and shatters.
Well, we tried. Let's go home.
Back to the past. Hardleg, where's the Siru flame? Flashback, just sort of like holding the Siru flame in one hand and his half-melted chocolate in the other one, like chocolate in pocket, Siru flame hidden behind a bush, like, it'll be fine. It's like, that was 3 weeks ago.
That was 3 weeks
I
ago.
hope it's still there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big fire at the side of Concrum from where the bush was.
I just imagine some like Siru hobo wanders around, grabs it, eats it. Like, well,
That's unfortunate.
well, there's a Legsplay anime. I'm not afraid of you. I hate you. Get out of here.
Oh, she's winding out the pitch. She's throwing.
She's got quite the arm there.
Hey! It's a home run strike.
Yeah.
Sports ball.
Sports
yeah.
ball. Win the game point.
She made a switch on the goalposts. Yeah.
CB Ladio, you did it. Grr.
You won the points.
Now we can go inside. I love stating the obvious. Then I'll say the thing I said again, and my mother and father will die tragically.
Sounds like a plan.
And I'll inherit their money.
Alright, listen. This is the last misgenerator.
Oh.
Let's not get careless. Especially since we're under level for this area.
Are we?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know anything about this game.
I don't know anything.
Well, precisely right now, we should be at level... No.
I know this isn't the end of the game, but I guess this is the last misgenerator. I'm trying to think. Again, my mind's kind of fuzzy around this area.
You just remember the very last moment? Or
I remember... I don't want to give it away, because I remember... There's two things I remember.
Okay.
This is not one of them.
Okay.
I completely forgot Court was a character in this
Okay.
game. But I know it doesn't end with this going away. There's something else.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Does the same castle appear above us, and then we have to go
Another. There's 4 more continents. Didn't even know about it, even though, you know, we've been talking about Concrum since the second island, and
But
now we're finally there. And
you were
it's just
saying?
a
No,
giant
but I was
clam.
saying the interesting thing about the
Ooh, you know this is a big thing when they've got a Pokemon
Yes,
Center inside of it.
delicious. Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Fresh water. Yeah.
The structure of like geopolitical, like how safety now is flipped from the coasts to like, because like there's some danger living in the coast, but property values are so high in the coast that most people want to flock there because of various reasons. But now because kaiju, like the first thing that gets hit is the coastal cities. Basically, our dumpy Midwestern towns like St. Louis became like the best places to live because of the landlock. Because basically, you know, there's no, like, even if the kaiju get through the first few cities, it will take them forever to get to us. Like, was the logic. And it was
Nice.
it was just so interesting, the, like, thought that, like, yeah, our, like, we'd be living in basically what is equivalent of, like, San Francisco in that world. Like, we would just be living in the height of...
Yep.
I'm
We would no longer have to call it misery.
Yeah.
We could actually call it Missouri. Or if you're feeling fancy, Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
That's not if you're feeling fancy, if you're feeling lazy.
No, I mean, right now, that's people in the South. A lot of people who aren't in the United States, they don't know, like, Missouri ends with an I, but in southern Missouri, you get people like, welcome to Missouri.
Yeah.
But I imagine that if Missouri became fancy, Missouri would be a thing.
So much more
It's pronounced Missouri.
But yeah, imagine like basically DC gets moved, like DC got moved, like all the Chinese imperial stuff, like basically its center of like anywhere that wasn't Japan moved to like the center of whatever continent they were in.
Because Japan's
Power.
rude.
Yeah, Japan was the first one to realize they got fucked, and I believe like if I remember reading extra materials, Japan was the first one to be like, hey, old buddies, old pals, I think we should all work together as humans to work against this threat.
Yeah.
Because they were the first ones to get utterly fucked.
Well, I mean, you could probably just turn that entire island into a part of a wall, because that would just, it's just a coastline on both sides, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, do the Russians help out with that? Because I
Yeah.
imagine them just being like, we got 1 billion people.
Yeah.
Napoleon didn't do
We
it.
could put yeah.
No, the Russians were one of the key characters in the final fight. The Russians were like were one of the they had like the Russian team had like the first Jaeger,
Yeah.
or like one of the Mark 1s that were like a big deal because it was still fighting and standing and had like a stupid amount of kills.
Because the
logged.
Russian engineering is better than yours.
Because the Russian engineering and heart,
Mm-hmm.
they're just like these hardy, people that are just like, they're robots. Other robots are like spinning around, doing rocket punches. It just had like a mechanical fist that extended and de-extended. Like it just like basically tung 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 tung. It's like the
Russian
scene in Civil War.
Yeah,
when he's just like go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. It's just like that.
Because the Russian robot eats turnips. Turnip makes stronger.
Yes. Your mind must be hard and joyless, like Russian
Turnip.
Now that's true. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna divert
I'll
the
just
conversation.
be
You
Yeah,
have.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you're talking about all the geopolitical stuff, it reminds me strongly of the book World War Z.
Yeah, versus the actual movie, which was utter garbage.
I remember the famous line is the guy who made World War Z. It's Max something, I forget, who wrote the book. And he, at a convention, he had a Venn diagram, and the two circles were the movie and the book.
And the only thing they had in common was the word zombie, right?
No, the only thing he had in the center, the only thing that was the same was is called World War Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as I remember, the books are like a collection of diary entries from different like survivors.
No, it's
right?
so the foreword of the book is basically this guy who works for the UN is going around 10 years after World War Z was won and collecting a bunch of evidence, basically like a historical record.
Okay.
And also just to be like, what did every country do? Because it was absolute chaos.
Right.
Civilization broke down in a whole bunch of different places. And they're just trying to figure out, like, how did this happen? How did it get so out of control? And it just starts by taking, it's personal accounts, diary entries, video entries, things you can find from the people who survived.
Yeah, and there was one that really stuck out to me was like this old blind man who like basically he was just like went around like with and anytime like something bumped into him he was just basically like, oh, that's or like something touched him, he like trained himself to basically fight it off.
Oh, 1 second. I believe our thing is going staticky. Give me 1 second. We'll be right back.
Sorry. Anyway, so for those of you who didn't hear what happened, we were talking about World War Z and the differences between the movie and the book heavily.
I forget who it was I was watching. Some guy after reviewing the movie, and they were like, he's like, what would your World War Z movie look like? And he's like, it wouldn't. Whoa, hey.
That's cool.
Bootleg's got to catch one of those.
Yeah, he does.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, but they're like, what would your ideal World War Z movie look like? And he's like, it wouldn't be a movie. It would be like
a miniseries,
a Kevin Burns style like documentary miniseries. Yeah, where it would be like 7 episodes, and it would have a narrator walking out and be like, in the war, things changed drastically for this, because it does kind of just go from like topic to topic.
Right.
And yeah, you do talk about like Japan was pretty much what was it? Japan was entirely abandoned.
Yeah. Because of the lack of land.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough room, so pretty much they evacuated everyone to China.
Yeah.
And there were a few people who left. One was a blind man who lived in a park and found like basically oh wait, no, he didn't have a samurai sword. He just has a stick.
Yeah, he just had a stick.
There's another guy there. Yeah, he had a stick and he.
It was the shut-in gamer who had the sword, right?
Yeah, there was a shut-in otaku who just basically didn't watch the news, didn't know what was happening. And then didn't find out that everyone had, like, abandoned everything until it was almost too late.
Yeah.
And his story is basically, like, him learning, like, almost dying several times, trying to climb out of his apartment building on the outside, and, like, spending the night on a, whatchamacallit? A terrace?
Yeah, terrace.
Yeah. And just doing all these,
things that were not...
all these things that he didn't think he would be able to do.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of times when he thought he would roll over and die, and then just sort of like,
And then he did 100
This is just a survival story.
Right.
100
It's just he got out of it despite not having any training.
Yeah.
The situation pushed him to be exceptional.
Yeah.
And then, there's the blind guy who just stayed and lived in a park and just killed zombies. And other people who got left behind slowly started to come to the park, and he just sort of, like, taught them his ways. Like, basically just how to be really quiet and how to, like, not get the zombies' attention.
But wasn't the interesting thing that, like, basically he'd attack because, like, like, basically, if they didn't respond to him when he asked a question after he heard a noise or something, he knew that they were basically not a zombie or they were a threat.
He could tell by the way they walked because they
Okay.
shuffled in a very particular way.
Okay.
Okay, my favorite part from
Also, 1 second.
Oh.
That's a lot of mist.
What is this?
TV Lady Hardleg, look, it's a big pool of mist.
I didn't know
And
mist could pull like
apparently a Daft Punk episode.
episode.
You mean
Wow,
show?
it
Yeah.
looks like a lake made
I haven't
of
got
mist.
to say a lot this episode.
Hey, what's this? What is that? Yeah, there's like something in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming down from
I'm
on
gonna
high.
say Juggernaut.
Is this the Juggernaut, bitch?
I'm gonna say it.
This must be mist from the mist generator above.
Okay, so we still gotta go up. I was like, are we over already? That means we have to climb up from here. Yeah, that's what above means.
Either way, we have to go around the lake of mist.
I don't know why they're... I can't wait to destroy the mist generator. Why is this even a thing? I guess they just wanted to bring attention to
Yeah.
it. Yeah, is that Juggernaut?
Yeah, it looks like a
Are
lot
they
like
just
a Juggernaut.
bathing Juggernaut in a lake of mist so it absorbs it constantly and becomes a giant demon?
I
Probably.
wouldn't be shocked. I
wouldn't
was
be
gonna
surprised.
say, my favorite. What?
It's like, hopefully, make for a hell of a boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make for a hell of a boss.
I was gonna say about my favorite part from the World War Z, from what you told me about,
Yeah, because I'm the only one here who read it.
was the.
But I think you would really enjoy it if you
Yeah.
could find like an audiobook version.
Yeah,
of
I was
something.
thinking about finding an audiobook or like an YouTube video that like reads over it or something. But anyway, Brandon, you were gonna make a point.
Was the story of, I don't remember exactly who it was, but somebody got into a plane crash, like in the middle, like in the south of America, and had to like walk or try and survive by themselves,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and had a broken walkie-talkie. Well, actually, it wasn't revealed till later. It was broken. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the whole
yeah,
whole
that's
thing of
the
it.
yeah.
Which basically was stolen by, I believe, Inner Space. What's it called? I forget.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it was this woman who downed in a plane and just had, again, another survive. It's
Right.
weird how it does this really good job of like alternating between like, this is a story about like a guy who was just running a town and how like the economic
Structure of
things changed it, and then you go to like, this person was exploring things and then got caught down and had to survive in zombie territory.
Yeah.
And it was all she had was, there was another guy on a walkie-talkie like telling her what to do and where to go.
Right.
And then when she got rescued like 3 weeks later, and they're like, we were sure you were dead.
Mhm.
And she had like a broken ankle for like 3 weeks and like
Yeah.
almost dehydrated, and they're like, your walkie-talkie's broken. And she's like, no, I was talking to this guy, he's in this base. And they looked it up and they're like,
There's never a guy that's been in that base.
there is no base.
Base, yeah.
But they're
Oh,
like, but she's like, you know, my walkie-talkie may have been broken when they found me. I hadn't heard from him from a day
Yeah.
beforehand. And who knows, that could have been just like a guy in a shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he got taken by zombies.
Yeah.
Maybe he was crazy and thought he was in a base. Whatever.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
Like it's one of those. I like that is because it's kind of like one of those. If it had been an actual thing, it could have been like, oh, that's a small miracle or something like that. Just
Yeah.
there's enough mystery in there to be
Well, also
interesting.
like from a psychological standpoint, it could also have been like she doesn't
Completely
like.
crazy.
No, well, if you like, in a time of crisis, you can like, you might not believe in yourself as extraordinary, but you can project your feelings or other like instincts onto something.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
Yeah, basically like,
That was
what
super
the
cool.
shit?
Yeah, I'm like, that was super cool.
It's a thunderstorm.
That's awesome.
Ah,
Thunder.
yeah. I want
but
to
like-
capture one.
But like in her time of
want one too.
crisis, like she might not have had proper survival training, but if she could just basically project what she thought the right thing to do onto a voice of authority,
Yeah.
she could basically will herself into it. Now that's an extreme case, but also an extreme scenario in which that case could happen.
what was it? She did have proper survival training.
Okay.
But it was she was like, it was her first day essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like she couldn't remember everything, and this guy's like, remember your training, you did
Yeah.
this, this, and this.
yeah.
Like,
So it could have been like her projecting basically instinctually, like in a panic, like her memory onto something.
yeah. And she ended up being like this really influential person in the army, but she insists that like, you know, everything she learned was from that guy.
Right.
So it says a lot about her character.
Yeah.
Which, again, a nice tale, but the stuff that super interests me is sort of like the battle tactics. Like when they talk about, like, there was the zombie invasion on New York.
Right.
Where I believe it was like Jersey and Massachusetts had been taken.
Right.
And everyone was fleeing to New York. And wherever people fled, the zombies were following. So by the time you had, like, the one bridge into New York, or the one road going into New York, like a highway, and just, like, 2 million zombies in a huge train just slowly going up. And the American government was like, we got this. And they had, like, all these tanks and these, like, Humvees and people behind sandbags and just, like, prepared
laying down
with
bullets,
yeah, just laying down bullets. And they came in, they had all this fancy technology, like this stuff that stunned everything and like shrapnel bombs, and they're like, and it was completely ineffective because modern military tactics don't work against zombies because they don't get afraid. They won't retreat. They don't mind if parts of them get blown off, if parts of them, like, you cannot inflict a casualty, like a
non-lethal
casualty onto them. And, like, soldiers are trained to shoot at the center of mass, and you have to shoot them in the head, otherwise they won't go down.
Because the center of mass is the easiest and most vital part in a living human,
Or they're like, and you know, you drop, what was it, they drop, like, bombs and stuff on them, and they're like, the bombs would incinerate however many zombies and knock over a whole bunch of them, but even those ones that, like, their legs got blown off would still continue to crawl towards you. And they're like, bombs, like, area of effectiveness, very small. How they ended up killing them was basically, like, they got people in a battle line, like
an old Roman,
like an old Roman region with rifles after training them for months to shoot accurately at the heads. And they just had lines, like, you take your 5 shots, you go back, another person comes up, you take your 5 shots.
So they combined old Centurion defense tactics with Revolutionary War shooting tactics.
Pretty much. But they're like, the first battle they fought against them, it was like at the edge of their base. And they, like, played all this music, like, over speakers and stuff to just attract them. And they're like, for 14.5 hours, zombies continuously came at them.
Right.
And you had people who had to run up and get the spent shell casings. Because they would form, like, piles, like, several feet high. And you had to, he's like, we had to bring in the 3rd line, and then the 4th line, and people were just like, the bodies were getting so high, there was just, like, a mound of zombies crawling over another mound of dead zombies at the line where you shot them. This is, like, neat.
Yeah.
Like, I just love hearing...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, don't dance next to the mist lake! Look out, the ground is collapsing!
Thanks.
Thanks. I didn't notice. Is that a Whatever.
CB Legaia, don't get carried away. Careful, you'll get hurt.
And she just falls in there and, like, I guess they gotta go find another princess.
I guess we gotta go find another princess. I mean, do we have to? Like, awkwardly, like, grabbing onto Hardleg. Hardleg's like, oh, I wonder what line of succession is like now.
This court's like, my dear second cousin twice removed. Like, we managed to find an old man who's kind of related to Court.
Like, barely. And it's just like, that would be actually a really funny, like joke story, is like, you know, like, the hero is like, you know, normally like the lost son of the king, whereas like, what if he was like the second cousin twice removed son?
That's the kind of stuff I would love to do. Not even as a funny thing, just sort of like, you know, an evil king rises up and they're like, only someone of the royal family, and then they find out, like, oh yeah, the king's cousin's son had a concubine, had an unofficial, so you're like 18th in line for the throne, but you technically have a little bit of royal blood, so we're gonna push you up there.
What on earth is going on? Is there something under us?
I would do like a joke version of like, first we tried with his son. That didn't go well. Just like a long line.
Going. Something under us again. Is it rising up?
Yeah.
Is this a boss fight?
I think it's boss fight.
Are we about to have a boss fight on this precarious ledge?
That's the worst place to have a boss fight, to be honest.
I'll turn this volume up a little bit. Because again, the sound work on this, very good.
Come on, Juggernaut.
Tentacle.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's the Juggernaut!
Oh, jeez.
Damn.
That thing actually looks kind of spooky.
Hardleg, that voice.
You mean that
the-
roar?
Yeah. You mean the
It's the Juggernaut, bitch!
Knew it! Also, this looks like the thing from Fantasia.
Hmm.
The Juggernaut is below us. Yeah, we figured it out already. Just bathing in mist. How's it gonna get out?
It stopped. Maybe he's sleeping.
Let's wake him up. No!
Let's get him some coffee. He's not going to be able to fight us efficiently if he doesn't
Yeah.
have his coffee.
And
He's
we want
just
him to fight us
tossing in his
efficiently?
sleep.
An honorable monk never fights a man who's weaker than him.
Let's hurry. We can't afford to waste time.
This isn't a man. This is a
We're
giant
just
monster
going to
creature.
ignore the fact that this is here.
Yeah.
It's fine. Speaking of ignoring things, actually that's not a segue at all, but you know what? Either way, we've reached our time for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Next time on Legsplay, we'll race up to the top to confront the evil court and maybe Juggernaut. And until then, have a good one.
Yeah.
Good luck and have
Yeah,
fun.
look forward next Monday.
Yeah.
Hey.
Comment in the comments if you comment in the comments. Comment in the comments if you comment in the comments. If you like these guys, please subscribe.